Hi everyone! In the last video, I focused on ineffective approaches to peacekeeping and security and concluded that we need a democratic system of international collaboration to effectively secure all nations and maintain a peaceful global order. It is encouraging to know that the embryo of a constructive international system already exists in the UN, where diverse nations can collaborate with each other based on shared interests that transcend racial, national, religious, and economic boundaries. Yet at this point, the UN remains just that, an embryo, and it needs to grow and mature before its full potential can be realized. One of the major stepping stones toward a mature system of international collaboration is collective security. This principle is already part of the UN Charter, but it is yet to be fully implemented. Collective security envisions an international peacekeeping system based on the commitment of all nations to rise collectively against aggression and to exert all types of pressures, including moral, diplomatic, economic, and military, to frustrate any attack by one state against another. As the system matures, political and economic sanctions are expected to act as increasingly powerful deterrents that can eventually eliminate the need for military action. In a system of collective security, there is no place for case-by-case calculations of self-interest by each country before joining in collective action. This is because the proper functioning of the system requires that all countries enter into a binding commitment and consider the threat of aggression anywhere as a threat to their own interests. Despite the emphasis that has been put on the principle of collective security in the UN Charter, the United Nations' ability to enforce the system has been seriously limited by the veto power given to the permanent members of the UN Security Council, such as the US and Russia. The veto power provision, in effect, makes it impossible to enforce collective security action against the world's superpowers and their allies. As a result, the UN's collective security provision can only be enforced against states that are not backed by the veto power of a permanent member. Many of the atrocities of the 21st century, including the use of chemical weapons and indiscriminate bombing of hundreds of innocent civilians in Aleppo by the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, an ally of Russia, could have been prevented by a true system of collective security. Within a collective security system, political leaders who commit such crimes against humanity would be arrested and put on trial by the International Criminal Court. This would eliminate the presumed need to engage in military retaliation or proxy wars that result in killing and displacement of millions of innocent people. In addition to this important benefit, the money that would be saved through implementing a collective security system would be of such a great scale that it could easily help resolve one of the most destabilizing conditions in the world, namely poverty. According to Oxfam, it costs a mere $60 billion to eradicate poverty throughout the world. That is a negligible fraction of the multi-trillion-dollar annual military expenditure across the globe. For the United Nations to evolve as an international system capable of facilitating the constructive process, it must not only become a truly democratic body, but it must go beyond that to become a consultative entity that acts in the interest of all of humanity. In its current definition, democracy allows for equal representation in what is often an adversarial decision-making process. In a truly constructive international system, the decision-making process itself needs to go beyond debates that represent the interests of specific member states to consultation on solutions that benefit humanity as a whole. In this new model for decision-making, representatives of people from diverse backgrounds, viewpoints, and beliefs would come together not to engage in debates designed to win a preconceived argument or to push for a self-serving agenda, but to use their right to free expression to consult and arrive at the best solution for all. For the current international system to become a consultative federation of nations protected by a fully implemented system of collective security, a key transformation is required at the individual level, namely a transformation in the existing relationships among human beings based on a full realization of the fact that humanity is one and that we are all in this together.